Hello, everyone. Welcome to Apocrypha, the only and best Apocrypha podcast on YouTube and also now on Spotify. I don't know if you guys realize this, but every week what I'm doing is I am uploading the episodes to Spotify. There are 3 up there right now. And so every week, these episodes are going to be uploaded along with Satan and Coffee, and hopefully when Adversary comes back, that will start getting uploaded as well. So if you guys are interested in catching previous episodes when you're driving around and you can't watch the video, then feel free and watch it on Spotify. So here we go. Let's see if I can see you guys. Nope, of course I can't see you guys, because why would I be able to see us on...
Why would it be so easy?
Right? I mean, this just never fucking works.
Is that the new one you're using?
There we go. The new what?
The new, like the not OBS?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's the Prism Live Studio. There's just a lot of features. Yeah, I mean, well, you better check it out soon, because they're going over to like a subscription model, which means I'll probably stop using it if I have to pay for it.
Yeah, I'm not
but
pay
right
for it
now
either.
it's free. So... welcome everyone. Welcome to Apocrypha. I am Adius Dade, and over there in that lovely box next to me, they're in a box, is Rook and Mystic. So yeah, that's a very big box you have, because you have your table in the box, you have all your dogs in the box, you guys are inside the box. I don't think I've ever seen a box that big.
Yeah, last time I was in a box, I was a teenager. Before that was birth, I think.
Same.
Hey, Tina. What a way to start the show.
Right? Inside a
Beautiful
box.
boxes.
Right? Gotta love
Pandora's
a box.
box.
Somebody's box. So welcome everybody. It's good to see everybody. So as you can see, the title of I'm not licking you. The title of today's episode is The Curse of Content Magic.
I love this topic.
Yeah, we're going to continue talking about kind of like online witchcraft, but in a different light. And there's going to be 2 sides to this. So there's a reason it's titled the way that it is. The Curse of Content Magic. So magic for content, and magic that helps you create content. So we're going to talk about both of those today. But before we do that, Mystic, what deck you got for us?
So I've got a different deck today. This deck is really hard because it's in a tin. So this is a very, very hard deck. I had to pause just to make sure my enunciation is appropriate.
He likes hard decks.
The Aquarian Tarot is a deck that Brad gifted to me. It is definitely a traditional style. It does follow more of a Tarot de Marseille, where, you know, like the 9 of rods has 9 rods on it. There's some imagery, but less imagery. It is more... it's very watercolor. It's pretty. It's a smaller deck, which I personally enjoy because shut up, because it fits in my relatively small hands.
And relatively small other places.
Right, which is helpful. Now the deck is not reversible, which is a little strange. Like, it looks like it should be, but it's not. It is bordered. They're very like playing cards, so they're a little bit different than, you know, like the McGreer. Is it McGreer?
I think so, isn't it?
McGreer? Morgan Greer. McGreer is work. That's
You work too much, man.
McGear's criteria is how you determine if something's a true infection or not. I need to take some days off. The Morgan Greer Tarot. So it's more, it has that kind of a feeling to it. Again, not my personal style, but I do like reading with them. I did a look through them a couple of days ago, pulled a couple cards. I like them. As far as reading ability, I think they're pretty cool. So if you like that traditional like kind of setup, then the Aquarian Tarot would be a pretty good choice. So you'll get to see them. The borders, I really don't like on these. I know my inner outer not official psychiatrist would yell at me now and tell me that the borders are my problem. I haven't heard from Scarlett in a minute, but it's always a good conversation. So, but that's the deck. We'll show you a couple cards here that were pulled, and then I'll go through a couple other ones just so you can see them. But our first card for our read today is the Two of Pentacles. I don't know why this Two of Pentacles looks like it has a Barbie cowboy with a mask on it. That's what it looks like to me.
Okay.
But I'm going to give this to you, Rook, so you can show. The Two of Pentacles is our first card tonight, and that sets the tone of things that we have to kind of work through on this physical plane. So when the Pentacles show up, especially in the beginning of an energy read, it says the energy is kind of mute. It's kind of dull. So maybe we're not feeling the energy we normally feel or the movement that we normally feel. It's very muted. And the Two of Pentacles is this first step into let's start laying the groundwork of whatever's happening. So something's going on in life. There's always something going on in life. That's nothing new. But the Two of Pentacles is the little statement that says, okay, you're getting ready to do something. You already pulled the ace, right? Let's say we've already had the Ace of Pentacles. That's our idea. Now the Two of Pentacles says, now what are you going to do with that idea? What's your brainstorm? What's the thing that you need to put in place to get through to the next thing? So Two of Pentacles is a planning card. It is a reminder that the things that you need to do to get to the second pentacle, you have to do in the first pentacle, or you can't get to it. So start making sure that you put the plans in place or thinking about what you want to do with your energy in the next week or two. You've got to make sure that you have some kind of plan or idea. Our next card is the Four of Cups. The Four of Cups is a little bit different. This is these cards, just to be frank, are definitely slow cards. And what I mean is the energy in these cards is not happy and joyful and let's go do this. These are cards that are serious. Four of Cups is this reminder too that, you know, when you are looking at what's in front of you, these things that give you your emotions and all the things that are bothering you or that you're happy about, you're only looking at what's right in front of you, not recognizing that some of this comes from outside of your area. So what you do affects others and what others do affects you. So as you're doing this planning and you're working through whatever it is you're trying to get through this sluggish energy, you've got to recognize the things that are around you. Fours are often structure cards. They often mean that there's things in place around you, like the four pillars, the four walls of a house, you know, the four corners. That it means things that are stable. But in the card, you can see that there's only three right away, and that fourth one is kind of coming out from the sky, really from the tree here. That's a reminder that we have to always be wary of or thoughtful of the energy and the things that are outside that have that effect on us. So as you're working through what you're working through, this energy, you need to not only plan, but you need to involve things that are outside of your plan, or else you're going to start feeling depressed and stuck and like you're not able to move forward. Energy right now is already feeling that way, just in general. I don't know if you guys felt it, but I definitely have. Our energy has just literally hit a brick wall the last couple of days. And this is going to be the pathway out of it. And then our final card, I was trying to figure out what is a Krygat of Swords. And that is why font matters. That's all I'm going to say. So it's the Knight of Swords, but it looks like the Krigit to me. The Knight of Swords, I actually really like this card. The Knight of Swords is a very smart card and represents a very intelligent person that's got the shit together. Their things are organized. They're ready to go. They did a lot of hard work. They graduated. They've done all of the hard stuff, and they really represent the knowledge. And I think last week or the week before, we talked about the need to pay attention to knowledge and pull knowledge in. I think, was it the page? I don't know. We had a Knight card or a Swords card last week that had that energy to it. This one is the prepared card, right? So we talked about needing to plan. We talked about making sure that the things around you are pulled into what's going on, or you're going to find yourself stuck. This Knight is telling you, you actually do have everything you need to do in your mind. Your thoughts are all there. You just have to now put them into experiential form. You have to now go out and experience those things to figure out what your next step is. So this read is all about a project, something that you're working on that you've been thinking about or you've just started and you're not going the next step. You've got to do the planning, you've got to do the thinking, and you've got to put all of it together. The idea is good, just do it and stop fucking around with it. But do it with the plan. Do it with the thought inside of it. So if there is no project going on for you and things are just chilling, you know, like what the hell is he talking about? Look at the other things that are going on in your life around you that you might be involved in and not know you're having an impact in. So maybe you're part of somebody else's project and you're causing a barrier to them. Definitely a sluggish energy week, but we'll be able to pull out of it, I think, by the end of the week. I'm not sure exactly what it was, but today definitely felt different for me. Thank you.
All right.
I don't
awesome.
love these cards, like the visuals, but they're easy to read with, I think.
Well, I mean, definitely, as always, Mystic, the message hit on point. So, yeah, like rock on as always. So, and also, sorry, so my son had sent me a random affirmation short from YouTube. So,
Nice.
I had to respond to that. And also, apparently, one of my shorts on TikTok is blowing up with all the wrong intention, but I still think it's fun. So I took a snippet out of Satan and Coffee talking about, you know, how God is a liar and Satan is not. And, you know, talking about Genesis and how God, you know, lied from the get-go, and then, you know, how Satan didn't. And oh my goodness, am I getting bombarded like by people telling me that I am wrong.
Is it a short?
It is a TikTok video, but it's also a short on YouTube. So the title of it is, hold on a second, what is the title of this video? Because now TikTok. It's just, yuck. Yeah, it's not showing me the title of the damn video. Hold on a second. Is it this one? Yeah, so what I titled it is, I said, mind blown is everything you thought you knew wrong, right? Some say the truth is complicated. Wait for it. And so trying to create like a nice little, you know, catchy title in there. But like some of the comments I'm getting, let's see here. So I've got Skeet Mastaflex says, eat from the tree of knowledge and you'll be like God. LOL. What the fuck you talking about, bro? Incorrect. This is from something American flag, letters in Hebrew, Israeli flag. Incorrect. The serpent stated you wouldn't die. They had lived over 1,000 years without aging and then ended once they ate the fruit. So for those of you that don't know, is in the Bible,
wonderful God,
says,
isn't he?
Right? In the Bible, it says that 1,000 years, human years, is one day for God. So what I came back with was actually Genesis 2:17 says, in the day you eat of it, you shall surely die. But Adam didn't die that day. He lived to 930, because that's really possible. Genesis 5:5, that's not immediate death. Right? If anything died, it wasn't mentioned explicitly in the text. Spiritual death is an interpretation, not stated. The literal reading shows the serpent was right. They didn't die that day. And God later confirms in Genesis 3:22, the man has become like one of us. So then let's see another one. Let me just go through the ones I'm getting. Weaponized ignorance. Satan always lies. God can't lie. Got it backwards. Satan is the king of lies. Repent and believe the gospel, brother. I will pray for your soul. Well, thank you very much for that. Take the narrow path, whatever the fuck that means. Antichrist in the Bible is an adjective. There is no Satan/devil in the Bible. To study what a Satan/devil is will take work. Most will not research. So trust me, can this guy be any wronger? Probably give him time. Wronger is for fun. Okay.
That's not a good time of fun for me. That's...
Right.
Really?
Then there's a guy here called Courage for God, like Courage the dog, the cowardly dog, right? Courage for God. And him and I went back and forth a few times talking about scripture, and then he came at me and said I was cold-hearted. And I was like, well, I mean,
she's a cold-hearted snake.
No, let's see. We've got so there's a bunch of comments that are on hold. Satan and his little servants laughing at you. Okay, sure. Tell me you worship Satan without telling me. If you are in Madison, Alabama, stop by. Why would you do that? If you're in Madison, stop by 734 BF. What is that? Like, is that like an address? Like, really?
Some people make no sense, man.
You know,
you're gonna
like,
sit down.
And then they're just calling me a liar because the way I cut the short at the end is, it's like I cut it at the end is like where having the knowledge of good and evil, and they're like, why would you lie? And it's like, I don't know if these people don't realize, like, the more they go on and on and on and on about this shit, the crazier they fucking seem. Like, I don't know if, like, and this is a perfect, like, preface of getting into the topic, right? The curse of content magic, right? So I cannot believe that one video is getting so, I'm just getting so bombarded with hate on that thing, right? And people telling me that I'm wrong. And it's like, here's the thing. I'm not wrong or right, and neither are you. That's, you know, also the more popular Adius becomes. What was that?
The chair. This dog will not get on my nerves.
Not just the door of the house is blown down.
Right?
So, yeah, I don't know. I just think the comments I'm getting are funny because it's no different than like when I was a kid, when I was a mall goth, and I would go to the mall completely dressed up, and the Jehovah's Witnesses would chase me around saying I was going to burn in hell. So, I mean, I'll be honest. I don't know if they were Jehovah's Witnesses, but they might as well have been. You know, I even had somebody like earlier on tell me that Catholics aren't Christian when they are, and like that's like there's like a Christian encyclopedia that actually goes through and says that Catholicism is the oldest denomination of Christianity. So yeah, I don't know. I just think it's funny when people come at me, and then like when they realize that I can go back and forth with them verse for verse on the Bible, then they immediately start attacking me. And it's like, wait, aren't you the same motherfuckers that get upset like when people on the left do that shit to you? Like, oh, you can't have a logical conversation. And it's like, neither can you. So shut the fuck up. Right? Like,
there are no words.
There are no words.
No.
Yeah, I just think it's funny. But going into the curse of content magic, right? So the premise of this conversation, what made me want to kind of talk about this, right? Is very much kind of what Maeve put in the chat earlier. Now I have to find it, Maeve. See, you should have waited. So the love, life, laugh spiritualists. That is so hard. Say that 5 times fast.
Live, laugh, love, 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 live, laugh, love.
Of course you'd be able to do that.
I practice with this mouth. Ooh.
So The idea here
Oh,
is right, the rise of influencer witchcraft. The idea of using witchcraft as content, right? So the performative poison, right? Magic rituals staged for likes, altars designed more for the camera than for the gods or the entities that they work for, right? Witch as a brand, not a path, right? How spiritual entities have become monetized archetypes. The crystal girl, the shadow witch, the sexy demon priestess, you know, those are names I made up, by the way. If those are actually somebody's tags, sorry, but like, what the fuck? Like, why? You know, so what are we doing? What are we doing? Like, it's one thing
Having a podcast.
well, I know we're doing,
I'm kidding.
but I'm like,
Oh God.
but it's just I don't know. Like, I'm sitting here and I'm thinking about it, and I'm like, it's like I was digging into this stuff into my head. What?
Do you just on that do you think that more people are doing it? Are more people doing it, or are we just seeing more of it?
That's a good
Because
question.
it feels like it's exploded.
I do think it has exploded. I do think that it's kind of like reached. I mean, I don't
critical
want to
mass.
say. Yeah, I don't want to say it can't get any worse because then it fucking will. But you know, don't want to jinx it now, do we? But no, it's definitely
more content for us.
Right? Exactly. But it's changed. It started out as podcasts like this or videos similar to like what we're doing here, you know, just to kind of like talk about our people's experiences, you know, how we've dug into things, how we've gone through things, you know, and then provide people kind of like a place where they can ask questions and they can have conversations. And now it's branding, right? It's like every I hate to say this, but you will be hard fucking pressed, right, to see a female witch on any platform that doesn't have an OnlyFans. And now here's the thing. Now a lot of people are going to say, well, what's that have to do with it? Look, I don't really give a shit what anybody does to make their money. That's on you. That's fine. Right? I have my limitations and my boundaries. I couldn't be with somebody that had an OnlyFans. That's just me. Does that mean you're doing something wrong for yourself? No, not inherently.
If you can make money on an OnlyFans, go for it. I'll help you out.
Really?
But there is evidence, psychological evidence that shows doing those things fucks with you. It's unhealthy for the mind, for the people that are consuming it and the people that are making it. And it's almost like here, there's another aspect of it that really irritates the shit out of me. Like the women that have the OnlyFans that go onto Threads and Twitter and all of that stuff, and they put up posts about men's mental health. Like they support men's mental health, and the only reason they do it is to get men to click on their profile and then go to their OnlyFans. And it's like, when did this stuff all become marketing tactic? Like when did witchcraft, paganism, occultism become a marketing tactic?
It's flashy. I mean, I think I have a little bit of a, like, to me, the OnlyFans thing really, I have zero concerns like with it. I can say I don't know anything about it, any connections. What I do want to say is I have zero issues with, and I know this isn't exactly what you're saying, but I'm going to say it for me. I have zero issues for anybody that wants an OnlyFans. And if that's what they do and they choose to do, I think it can be done healthily. I think it can be, all those things can be done in a way, but that's just not how most people do it. Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, because that's not what's going to sell the thing that they're trying to sell, right? So
what are they doing on there?
They're doing the thing. I'm just kidding.
Like, what are they showing?
It depends. It depends, and we can talk about that in a minute. So hold on to that thought. But it's not the only fans thing that's really the root of the conversation, so much as it is utilizing whatever flashy thing they can use to get somebody to look and objectify the person enough to go to that OnlyFans so they can pay the $10 subscription fee or $50 subscription fee or even more for some people.
You've been on.
I've never been on OnlyFans.
You haven't been searching.
I have no idea. I only know what OnlyFans because originally it wasn't started as something that's like, PG-13 and higher. That's not what it's for.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it is now mostly, but
yeah.
Yeah, so like if you wanted to teach a class on, making your face watch, that's something you would do on OnlyFans. If people could pay like Patreon. It's like Patreon,
like Patreon?
But Patreon and YouTube got together and had an OnlyFans account. But anyway, my whole point in all that for me is I love aesthetics. A really good example, we use his name a lot on the show, is Behemoth X. He has a very amazing aesthetic. But when you are watching or paying attention to that aesthetic, if all of that was removed, you'd get the same feeling. Like you'd still be there. Yeah. I need that visual. It helps me, but it doesn't help everybody. But utilizing it in order to get something for financial out of it on the other end, that feels icky to me. Mm-hmm. And it feels like it waters down the rest of it. And I can't tell anybody what they do if somebody feels empowered by doing that. Too. Great.
With the stuff that we're talking about right now, young falls into this, right? If we look at like archetypal inflation, right? If we look at archetypal inflation on this, that's what we're talking about, right? When we talk about these people that have like these screen names that call themselves like a high priest or a high priestess of nothing, we're talking about archetypal inflation. And what that is people projecting deified versions of themselves as spiritual authorities without shadow work. Like the thing is
I can be a high priestess of my life, but that's about as good as you can be a high priestess of, I guess, priest. Right?
The
only authority you have is on you.
Exactly. And so the problem that we have here, right? It's people are accepting part of something and not the other part. Like the amount of people in the occult that say that they love Carl Jung but can't tell you a damn thing about Jungian psychology except for the ego and the shadow.
I can tell you a lot, and I've read all of his books, and I don't understand 93% of it. But I try.
Like, you've read through it, right? You've done some of the work, most people won't even do that. Right? They get a couple of catchphrases that they think are cool, that they like, and they're accepting things in part. And it's the same thing with Christians do the same thing. Christians will dissect the Bible and then take a piece of scripture here and a piece of scripture there, and then ignore other stuff and stuff that only kind of inflates their narrative and inflates their idea of being kind of like an authority on what it is that they're talking about when they don't actually know what the fuck it is they're actually talking about. Right. Yep. So, and here we get into a versus, right? How do we tell the difference when we're looking for people to connect with, not even to talk to, but just to learn something from? How do we understand the difference because of how this is blown out of proportion? People that are living the path and then versus people that are performing the path, because there's a huge difference.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, this reminds me of two things. One of them is we have a group that has never really gotten off the ground. I'm not even going to share the name of it, but the whole purpose of that group, some people may know what it is to loosely link people together that have practiced and have done experiential things together and know that things have happened, so that somebody can say, oh, I recognize this as something that's quality. And it's almost like we need our own association, right? Like there are some that kind of, I don't want to say are accrediting factors because that's too academic for me, but that say, hey, look, this is somebody recognized as having put some of the work in, because I think that's the biggest thing is, you have to, and we've talked about this ad nauseum. You have to put in the work to get to figure out how anything happens. Like I can read 100 books, none of it matters if I haven't done some of the work to get out of what we get. And when we have this, like you say, what did you call it? The what archetype? What's the phrase?
The archetypal inflation.
Yes, that. I've never heard that term before, but it makes absolute sense because you're taking the thing that people recognize and making it and kind of applying yourself as a ghost inside of it, not even a real piece of it. And it feels like lying to me. Like it really feels untruthful.
Mm-hmm.
I am certainly not a expert on Carl Jung, but I am pretty well versed on the history of the Green Man, both and academics. Like I've studied it. So that's something that I can say comfortably that I would do. But am I a high priestess of the Green Man Church? No, that's not how that works. But if I say it, guess what? You're more than likely to join my YouTube and get on with this stuff and maybe even go to my OnlyFans, but you probably would quit after that. I'm just saying. But that's I think the point that we're kind of getting to is like this whole, it's just being used, and it kind of sucks to see it.
It does, because what we get into is like kind of like, for example, Magick is a content template, right? So we're looking at like 30-second spells and the death of depth is kind of like what we're looking at, right? And so when we look at Magick as a content template, like it's like, for example, the danger of the 3 herbs to banish negativity, videos that lack nuance, culture, or even responsibility, the chaotic democratization of knowledge. Like, is this modern grimoires age or fast food version of sorcery?
Fast food.
Yeah, that's exactly what it's becoming.
Exactly what it is.
And the thing is like the creating kind of like a democratic like understanding of truth that doesn't serve anyone. Right now, we run into an issue. This is something that I know that Mystic and I feel differently on, and I've never really fully kind of gone into it because it's weird.
Let's do it.
I don't inherently believe in gatekeeping. But I do believe, and I don't think gatekeeping is maybe the appropriate word for what it is that I believe should exist. But what would you think you heard? So Dyra thought that I had said that I don't inherently believe in gay people, apparently. Well, it's a little hard. 2 of them right here.
It was nice working with y'all. We don't exist. We're fae. We're the fairies.
Litter away.
Mercy, that was hilarious.
That was really
that was
gay.
good.
I'll do it again.
That was good.
I'll never do that again.
Yes, you will. It's just in you.
No, somebody that doesn't like me is gonna find that, clip that,
and cut the clip. Yep.
Just run with it.
That is hilarious.
I'm gonna get famous for all the wrong fucking reasons. So the problem with gatekeeping, right? So I don't inherently believe in gatekeeping, but I do believe that there should be some level of universal understanding of what it is that we work with. Right, at least the basics, the super basics, like the down to earth stuff, because like the stuff that you start out with, because what the fuck are you even doing? Like, it's like if you talk about science, at least science as we understand it now, and we look at like a scientific theory, and we sit there and we say, we get a room of scientists. And we talk about their emotional context to whether or not they want something to exist or be, reality. It's going to be just it's a free for all. It's a fucking nut fest. It's like if you can't agree on something, then what the fuck is the point? Because everyone is telling everyone that they're wrong simply on the basis because they want to be the person that's right. It's not, if it was a situation where it was like, okay, you can run this shit however you want to run this shit, and we all respect each other and say, that's cool that works for you, this is what works for me. If that was the conversation, I wouldn't have a problem with it. But that's never the conversation. The conversation is always, nope, that's not how you're supposed to do it. That's fucking wrong. It goes down to, for example, how I read tarot cards. I read tarot cards interpretively. I don't read them based off of the meaning in the book. But when I was doing free tarot readings on Twitch, you wouldn't believe the amount of fucking people that came out of the woodwork. That's not what that card means.
Uh-huh.
Wow.
I get that now.
So I'm like, yeah, I know that's not what it fucking means. But I don't read it that way. And there's nothing wrong with that. And like I said, if the conversation was, oh, okay, that's cool. So how does that work for you? Okay, well, this is how I do it, and this is how it works for me. There's no problem with that conversation. But when you turn around and you're like, no, you're fucking wrong because you do it that way, and I do it this way, and the way I do it's right, and the way you do it's wrong.
That's where the problem is. I don't disagree with your content that as far as gatekeeping. I don't think that there is I don't feel like there is a way to properly express what those basic things are. Because they are so different from person to person. So it's really hard to say it. So the only way to do it, in my opinion, and of course, this is something people probably may disagree with, is we have to change how we call things out. Gatekeeping is not just correcting somebody. It is correcting somebody with the failure to allow growth. There's something more to it. I don't know how to exactly say it, but the gatekeeping has an extra step to it. And so when somebody does something that doesn't match what I do or what I think or what works for me, I say, hey, I've never done it that way. What you just said, this is what works for me. That's different. I'll be honest, I've had that conversation more often than the other. Most of the people in our circle, I don't know if it's because of who they are or where the type of people they are, but they have, all of them, even the all of them have been, we're never going to tell you what to do or how to do it, but if you ask us for opinion, we're going to tell you what our standard is. And then I think of that as that comes to my mind of, well, is there a standard? Can we make a standard? I don't think it's possible, because a standard for a left-hand path is not going to be a standard for a Wiccan, is not going to be a standard for a pagan. There's just, it's really hard to get that. But what you can do, what I think is the best way to kind of manage this, is there has to be a system. I've wanted to create this system for a long time, but I am not an expert, so I don't feel that I have the authority to do so. But maybe some of us can get together and do this. I already have a name for it and everything. Something that just says, not that what this person says is right or wrong, but that in the circles of things, we know this person has put in the work. Do you know what I'm saying? I don't know how to explain. It's the procedure.
The thing is, I
not
get what you're
the
saying.
Outcome.
It's the idea of learning from somebody's experience and then developing onto your own stuff. Like there are certain things, for example, I feel like should be absolute, even though they never will be. So, for example, with rune stones, for example, when I read with runes, I use them as a complement to tarot or oracle, because I read it as a language, not as like there are people that do interpretive readings. I'm not sitting there saying that you can't do an interpretive reading with rune stones. I use it as a control, because it's a language. I'll throw the runes out on a read to see if the runes correlate and correspond with the reading, to see if maybe there's something that needs to be read into more, because it's a language. It's not just a pretty design on a stone. It's a literal fucking language. It has a predefined meaning, right? That has existed for centuries. So that's how I use it. Another thing I think is a good example here: correspondence, right? The misuse of correspondence.
That's a big one.
Right, without understanding the force behind them, right? Like people like using correspondences for things that they're not supposed to be used for. But so there needs to be a give and take. I feel like there needs to be a level of like, this is something we all understand and we agree on. Generally speaking, are there outliers? Yes, but this is generally the bar here for this thing. And this next thing, it doesn't really matter how you do it as long as you get the result. Like a ritual, for example, I don't think there should be necessarily a bar on how you're supposed to perform a ritual. It's however it feels connective to you. That's the whole point. That's a personal experience. But it's the things that go into it on the outside that I feel like there needs to be an understanding. I've seen so many fucking videos about people talking about correspondence. I'm just sitting there going like,
yeah,
where the fuck did you read that?
But that correspondence is a big one. Like the reversal of swords and wands. I have people all the time that get really frustrated. It's like, well, back when they really did this, the swords were the wands and vice versa. I'm like, I don't really give a fuck.
I hear that.
This is how I read. But I do want to kind of see. My thing is, and what's going on in chat right now, I think is really important. But I personally, and I could be wrong because I know gatekeeping is definitions. But I don't see gatekeeping as being required to ensure specific practices. I think of gatekeeping as when those specific practices that are being preserved is done in a way that's denigrating and doesn't give people room to question. It's not gatekeeping to me if Oto says Oto and does Oto, you're doing Oto, right?
Right.
It's gatekeeping if Oto does Oto and says you doing paganism is doing it, not Oto. That's gatekeeping for me. So I don't necessarily think that gatekeeping is important or that we should be doing gatekeeping. What we should be doing is if you practice OTO, then you better be, the people who do OTO should be telling you whether you're right or not. And if you don't think you're wrong, then you shouldn't be doing OTO. Should stop calling it Oto because it sounds really weird. But that's like the thing. Like I'm an eclectic pagan.
That's exactly what I'm saying.
So
I agree with that 100%.
So I just don't think gatekeeping is the best word for it because that gatekeeping to me has it has that connotation of I mean it's assholery really. Gatekeeping is a emotional word for me and it might be the right word and I just don't see it that way. But I agree with everything in there.
No,
yeah.
But I prefaced it
I'm just
by
reading the
saying
chat.
I prefaced it by saying that I don't think that gatekeeping is the right word to use, but it's for lack of a better term, it's the only one I've got. And like everything that you just laid out, I completely agree with that. It's like if you're doing this one thing, then follow and listen to the people that are doing that thing. And if you're doing that thing and there's something inside of what you're doing that they say is not correct, then don't be doing that thing because right? You know, like we don't all want to be
appropriation of some sort.
We don't want to be King James, you know what I mean? Like it's like
But I agree with every single thing that is up there. It is exactly what like how I feel, and even what you said, I feel the exact same way. Like that's exactly my agreement. I'm not a huge fan of.
Teresa, I don't read reversals either. Like at least in Oracle, I don't read reversals.
Look, can I just point out this irony is also not the word here, but the interesting synchronicity of me asking for a definition and then a person coming in called index glossary.
Right.
I mean, that was on cue. Perhaps we can get clarification.
Right.
But
Are
no,
you a person index?
I wouldn't go to somebody that says I do intuitive reading and say you're doing traditional reading wrong. That's gatekeeping to me.
Yeah. No, I definitely agree. Another aspect of this I wanted to throw in here is like, for example, also energetic consequences. For like example, sharing rituals in mass, right? So psychic fragmentation, echo chambers, or even egregoric backlash. Like that's a thing. It's a thing. People don't pay attention to. People don't look at. Like when you do, there's a reason why, for example, like Behemoth X, you've used him as an example, so I'll go back and use him. There's a reason. Have y'all ever noticed that Behemoth X doesn't show you a whole fucking ritual? Like he shows you snippets, pieces.
He's into something.
Right? Like he doesn't show you the whole thing. He doesn't sit down and tell you how to do the ritual. Because ritual is an extremely personal thing. It's like when people ask me, well, Adius, how do you do a ritual to Baphomet? Just fucking do it. Because the thing is, if I show you how I do shit, then you're going to start doing shit the way that I do shit, and that's going to fuck up my shit. And I'm sorry. Like, I love you guys. You guys are amazing, but I'm not going to let you fuck up my shit. Like, I got my shit down packed. Like, my shit works for me. Right? You don't need to be seeing how I do it. You figure your shit out. Right? You don't need that from me. Like, it's just, how it is, right? And I think that, like, quick videos, there's another question here, right? Are quick videos, like these quick, dopamine-based videos, are they opening doors or are they weakening the threshold? And I'm going to go with, I think that they're weakening the threshold. I think when we create content like that, like the ones that we've talked about here, like the ones that are trying to do like these quick speed through rituals, that they show online and stuff like that, it's weakening the threshold.
Do you think I agree with you or not?
Do I think you agree with me? I would not assume.
That's so smart. I love it. I would say a year and a half ago, I would have argued an opposite point, but I completely agree. Just seeing it more and more now, I don't want to denigrate people who are just learning and starting out and doing that kind of stuff, but that's not who's doing it. These are people that are purposefully misappropriating the activity and making it into something that it isn't and causing us to look stupid. Granted, we don't care as far as what we do, but then it makes it harder for the next person to really get into it and understand what's going on.
Yeah, if you think you can just rush through a ritual.
Yeah, it's like a correspondence class where you get an A just because you did the work, not because you got it right.
Takes work, focus, time, and intent.
So here's another one that's irritating the shit out of me recently, like the last couple of days, right? The repackaging of African traditional religions, indigenous magics, and closed practices as aesthetic witchcraft. Now, I don't have a problem with people that want to learn this shit, get into the groups and like, you know, the traditions and learn from these people, like how they perform their magic. But these people that come into it and use it as an aesthetic, there's a Facebook page that Dyra and I looked at like the other day, not maybe a few weeks ago now, of this group in like I want to say Brazil, that if you look at what they're doing, it looks like it's definitely something you'd find more in like Africa than Brazil. And the fact, the way that they use animal sacrifice, it's like every ritual they do, they're killing an animal. Like
what are they doing with that animal?
Well, they're in one series of photos. They cut off a goat's head and then they start putting it on each member's head, freshly cut off. You know, and I'm like, I eat meat. Don't get me wrong. Like, you know, I love me a good hamburger, a nice thick juicy steak. Like, you know, I love that. But I mean, you can tell by the way that these photos are done. They're done for the creepy aesthetic. They're not done for the actual magic that's happening. Because why would you need to publicize something like that? Why does that need to be public knowledge? Right? Like if you're going to do that, okay, fine. But why do you need to be taken, like have a professional photographer on hand to take the weirdest fucking photos that you can get? Exactly. To shock the shit out of people that are looking at it and try to get yourself some momentum. It's like, this is what I'm talking about, right? It's like, yes, there are cultures like in Africa that still do that. There are you know, these religions, these spiritual paths that still do that. And I'm not saying anything against that, but these motherfuckers over in Africa, they don't have, you know, $1,000 photographer standing by to take professional photos of them while they go through their ritual. And they don't do it every other day. You know, they do it when they think they need to. There's a respect there. You know, so it's just this is what's happening with content magic, because that's what it is. It's magic that is specifically done or performed, rather, not even like actual ritual that's performed, but a performance art that's done to shock people, to make it look like a fucking horror movie. And then the thing is something like that gains momentum because it does shock people. And then they look at me, they look at Mystic, and they look at Rook, and they immediately think that all three of us do the same thing.
Yep.
Exactly.
Without ever asking the question.
Or even trying to figure it out. It's immediate.
Mm-hmm.
And it's getting worse fast.
And we wouldn't be pausing to take pictures if we did.
Yeah, exactly. Because you have to figure, right? Like you have to, like you cut the goat's head off, you stick it on somebody's head. You're like, wait, hold that pose, right? You know, like so it's void of meaning. So that means that goat lost its life for absolutely nothing than clicks. It's fucking clickbait.
Yeah, every time I've even thought about trying to like videotape a ritual or something, the only time I've actually done that is when we did a ritual for someone else and wanted them to see and be part of it because it was very personal.
And only for that person.
Only for that person. That person is the only one that ever got the link, and the only person that ever got to see it. I've never watched it since. It's not my ritual anymore. That's a whole nother process. But Any other time I've thought about it, as soon as we start doing it, it just goes away. It's just immediately you don't think of it and you're doing something else. Like it never works out for me. I've tried so many times.
Yeah,
Doesn't work.
I mean, and
now
you know,
I would do a fake
just,
one to show people how to do it, maybe, or something similar. But
you know,
Said
and
that it
just
was a demo.
and preface it by being like, this is for illustrative purposes.
Yeah, here's what we kind of do. We walk here, we do the circle, and you might do it differently. Blah blah blah. I think that'd be kind of fun. We should do that.
I mean, that would be fun, like teaching, but you say, yeah, because.
But there are some belief systems that start in the east, and some don't walk around at all. Some start in the east and go all the way around. Our friend does it east to west, north to south. So it's just very different. And if I were to go tell her she's wrong, she'd probably laugh at me and say, "Okay."
It's so, for example, like to go further down this road, though, something that irritates the shit out of me as somebody that's lived in Mexico for like 17 years. Okay, when I see anyone online that's whiter than Casper talking about Santa Muerte, it's not that I don't think that somebody that's white can work with Santa Muerte. I doubt what they've gone through to work with Santa Muerte, right? And it's kind of like this idea of like, it's not just Santa Muerte, it's Pambajira, it's Papa Legba, right? It's like, you know, they're being turned into like these trendy deities to be worked with. Yeah, everybody knows you got your giant Santa Muerte over there.
I am laughing
Laughing at me.
I'm not laughing at you. What I'm laughing at is every time you say that, I think of a friend of ours who is a really she's the real deal.
She's a real witch.
She keeps calling it Saint Santus Muertus.
No,
Mutra. Santa Mutra.
You got that Santa Mutra?
Like lady. That's all I can think about. And I even that freaking statue moves every time we say it.
And she's powerful. That's what's so funny. She's adept.
That wasn't funny, but it made me chuckle.
Yeah, and
yeah, you've actually done work though with her, and you don't claim to be an authority on it. You've started, you've done things. Right. You've been very intentional and specific with it. You don't go tell everybody, "Hey, this is what we do."
There was a Netflix documentary thing that Dyra and I watched a couple days ago called "The Dark Tourist," right?
Ooh, I want to see
and he did. I mean, it's highly disrespectful, at least in my opinion, right? So
I like those even better.
Like he went to Mexico City, this guy, like to see how people work with like Santa Muerte and stuff like that. And the only thing he did was just like constantly crack jokes about the belief system, about how they did things, why they believed in it, made faces at them. You know, it just it pissed me off and it pissed Dyra off to see this. I've always said I don't work with Santa Muerte, and I mean I've done a little bit now since I've met, since I've been with Dyra, but usually like I keep my distance because I live in Mexico. I live in the birthplace of Santa Muerte, and if there's one thing that's in consensus about Santa Muerte is like if you don't start and go all the way through it, she'll finish it for you. And it just irritates me when it's the same thing with the fucking Goetia, right? Like Belial. Like everybody wants Belial as their demon daddy or some shit, and it's like, I don't know how many times both Dyra and I have to tell people, demons don't love you. Like, I'm not going to speak about the gods, but I highly doubt they love you too. Like, it's a transactional relationship. That's why there's offerings. That's why there's time spent. That's why there's, energy put into what you're doing. Demons don't love you. Belial isn't your daddy. Lilith isn't your mother. That's just saying that there's some shit that you need to work out in your life. Either some daddy issues or some mommy issues. But they're not trendy. They're not, something to post up for clicks and shit like that. Like, and it's just demon daddy. Yeah.
I swear to God, that's so. I love it.
You know, so it just irritates me. It's like, it's okay to have reverence, and that's the difference here, right? It's reverence, it's worship, it's, you know, we say working with, and I think the thing is people have a misunderstanding of what it means to say working with something. Is working with doesn't mean I'm walking shoulder and shoulder with Lucifer here. Working with is I'm working on myself through the process of giving reverence and worship to Lucifer.
I actually got into an argument online with somebody about that working with versus where I don't like worship. The word just, it bugs me.
Mm-hmm.
I do think and feel like some deity interactions do require more reverence than others, but that general reverence isn't through worship so much, in my opinion. Again, this is just me. Isn't so much through worship as it is through the amount of time and energy you plan and put into the process. I think that is the real currency of working with anything, is how much time and energy and thought are you willing to invest in this relationship. The more you do, the more reverent you are to whatever the entity is you're working with. And I think that's an important distinction. And I've had people screaming at me as like, you better worship this one and that one. Like, okay, no, thank you, bye-bye.
You know, and then we get into another versus thing here, right? When we start looking at this stuff, when people start using this stuff as kind of like for clicks and content bait, you know, it's like what I call is like you have the ego path and then true path. How content creation becomes a trap for spiritual narcissism and delusion.
I like that.
Maeve, he said. Sorry.
T-shirt. That's a T-shirt.
Maybe a demoness would spank my ass, but it would not be served well.
Oh, sorry. I read that at the wrong moment.
No, I mean, but it ties in, right? Like so the thing is like people are social media has starved people for attention, and the wrong type of attention. We don't feel like we're worth anything unless people are clicking on our shit. And unfortunately, when we're occultists, the biggest thing we have to share about ourselves is our occult practice. And it's not that I don't share my occult practice, but I've never shown you guys a full ritual. I've never done like a full-on ritual video. I've never done a ritual how-to. You know, I'm not going to assume to tell you how to do this shit. This is something completely different. But the problem is again, ego path versus true path, right? Content creation does become a trap, and it causes spiritual narcissism and delusion. And we saw that with what the fuck was his name?
So true, Nocturne.
DID, I think he went by or whatever. The dude that used to date.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Oh my God, what was his name?
Oh, I can't remember. I've removed his videos from the channel. His videos aren't on the channel anymore.
Oh, I know. I have his face and everything, and his name, but I'm not going to say it. But I don't remember what his thing was. Yeah, like his real name, I know, but I don't remember what it was on the thing.
Yeah, I don't want to mention his real name. But you know, I mean, both Mystic and I kind of paused and looked at each other in the camera. Like we were talking, he was talking about this ritual he did, and he had this, apparently he managed to open up this mini black portal above his altar, and then this black, fleshy, scaly hand reached through that was Lucifer's and grabbed him by the throat and pulled him in, and then Lucifer whispered some stupid shit in his ear. You know, and like both Mystic and I just kind of looked at each other and just went, yeah, I mean, you know, sometimes one flew over the cuckoo's nest, right? You know?
And it flew into it, not over it.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's not to joke on people that have had true experiences, whether they believe them or not, but to so vehemently believe that it has to be the truth without anything. You know, it was the presentation and the discussion and the way it was just very strange. It was, you had to be there.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember that specifically.
And the thing is like, I mean, you know, it's one of those things that's just kind of like, and I don't really want to use this against the guy because I've been in worse positions, but we're talking about a guy that like was sleeping in a room in the basement where his bed barely fit, like in his mom's house, talking about like these fantastical experiences with magic and how magic has done wonderful things for him. And I'm just like, bro, I'm sorry, I don't see it. Like there's usually like this sensation of where you get like people that are bullshitting themselves, and that's the worst part because they don't feel like they're bullshitting you, they're bullshitting themselves. And they bullshit themselves so much that they're delusional. They don't see the problems that they need to fix in their life.
I think the one of the biggest tells is if somebody is having these epiphanies and they are getting all this really great information, right? And it's all
Lucifer to help with the rent.
This is going to fit with that. So when somebody is having like these epiphanies, right, and they're working with Lucifer, the Morning Star, and all these things, right, they're amazing, and I'm the chosen one and the prophet, and you're giving me all the information. But I'm not knocking this because people have down times. You're still sleeping on somebody's couch, and you don't know where you're going to sleep tomorrow. You can't afford food. You can't afford the basic necessities of life. You're not functioning as an adult. You can't take care of your children. All these things are happening. Lucifer's not helping you because that's what he'd be helping you with.
Exactly.
So it gets to a point where you just feel kind of a little bit of pity and sadness. And things get there, I think, because of our original topic. People believe that they can do that because they saw it on TikTok.
Oh, it's dangerous.
It's dangerous. It's scary. It's sad. But it's what's worse than that situation, because I can at least have some empathy and sympathy for that situation. I can't for the people, and I used to, you know that because you prefaced with you thought I would disagree with you on this earlier. It is getting so much worse so fast. The individuals that are putting the stuff out and making these things such a big commercial item, like to the point where you go to a store, a witch store, and it's like you've walked into Spencer's, not like Deb's store.
Right.
Knock on wood, because she probably will send her crow after me now for saying her name. But it was a dirty, dingy, things out of place, rock dust everywhere store, but she worked her shit.
And she would cuss at you?
And she would cuss at you and ask you a question. Ask me a question. Oh, well, that was a stupid question. Get out. So she was the real shit. It is.
But
she's
that's
not
what it's
gone.
supposed
Her
to be,
store
though.
is, but yeah, that's how you know.
And the thing is, so Curse with what you said, right? Curse says, I think it's a sense of validation, to be honest, and a place of insecurities. And the angle on this, like the end point for this particular part of the topic was the question of, when does magic stop being liberation and become a performance for validation? Because that's what a lot of people are doing. They're going into these communities that are, usually pretty open-minded, right? And taking advantage of the validation that we give to each other. Like, let's be honest here. Like, they see it. They see that, we're very open-minded. We generally, we're respectful of people's practices. But we're not dumb, though. Like, we can see if you're full of shit. We're not going to call you on it, generally speaking. Most of us aren't going to call you on it because we're going to be like, all right, cool, dude, whatever.
Embarrassing for both parties.
They're abusing the open-mindedness and the tolerance that we have for people that are learning to feel validated and hide their insecurities and hide their problems behind something that we have spent a lifetime learning, and we continue to learn. This is the thing. Yes, we have a podcast. That doesn't mean like we're the end all say all in this shit. We are most definitely not. And that's the reason we have a podcast, is because we understand that shit. We know we're not the end all be all of the occult. We know that we're constantly in a process of learning. But with the shit that we have learned, I wanted to cosplay. Really, Samuel?
I'm not.
He wanted to cosplay as Melinda Lyons.
Dude, I please pictures, please.
Yeah, pictures are
Go fund me to make the costume if we have to get somebody. Seriously.
Right. You know, and I do think that we are hitting a spot where, unfortunately, I feel like the people getting in the occult shouldn't be in the occult. And I hate saying that because I love our numbers. Our numbers are growing so quickly. Like we're getting so many more followers in the occult. And it's absolutely amazing, and it warms my heart to see. But at the same time, quality over quantity, man. Like, you know, it's just people that don't want to learn. They read 3 lines in a book or a couple sayings off of Instagram and then think they know a fucking thing and start dedicating a channel to it. And it's just, yeah. You know? And there's so much more on this that I could cover. There's so much more that I have written down here. TikTok curses, hex wars, and digital witch hunts.
You know what I picture when you say that? I've said it before. The South Park episode where Cartman and them are doing the thing where they're all like fighting each other psychically.
Yeah. So, you know, there's that. You know, also there's I have a section on who's doing it right. You know, spotlight on depth. Right. So some honorable mentions of people that I think that even Mystic and Rook would agree that, you know, are doing, you know, really, really well in the space. You know, and then, you know, a section on, you know, rebuilding the temple, like your path beyond the algorithm. Right. Like it's so the problem is now is there's so many people putting information out there that is most likely misinformation. It's very difficult to get a grasp on who's out there to provide you with actual information or who just wants you to follow them and start liking their videos.
Mm-hmm.
And with everything that we've gone over, all of this is a problem. Like all of the things we've talked about is a problem. Because it's no longer focused on the craft. It's focused on the algorithm. It's focused on the output. And
yeah,
it's detrimental to the occult in general, overall. Doesn't matter if it's left-hand path, if it's Wicca, it's just detrimental across the board. Because, you know, there's going to be people that are, you know, are on the Wiccan path and, you know, doing stuff, and they're going to befriend somebody. They're going to come over and it's like, oh, no, I saw on TikTok this. I saw on YouTube that. And what you're doing is wrong. And it's like, you're missing the point. You're missing the point completely. And though I do think that, for lack of a better term, I do think that some level of gatekeeping is important because people aren't doing the research. Like the correspondence thing, like you guys wouldn't believe the amount of videos of people talking about correspondences that have no idea what the fuck they're talking about. And you can tell that they have no idea what the fuck that they're pulling shit out of their ass, literally. Like that's the only correspondence they have. Like, you know, and it's like, what happened? When did actually learning become so, like, when did people become so adverse to actually learning something?
They've always been that way. I think that's what, back to that original question. I think a lot of people have always been that way. And there's so much going on in anybody's world right now that you can't focus on any one thing. So they just try to jump into everything.
Yep.
Yeah, maybe exactly. That's exactly it. And it's the internet definitely made it worse. Curse. That's exactly where I'm headed with this. This stuff is so readily available. There's no need to learn it or experience it anymore. It's like, okay, if I want to, you know, bring more money in, I just light this money candle and say hocus pocus alamadocious, and that's it. I'm like, no, that's not how intent setting works. Like, this isn't how you get there. You still have to do the fucking work.
You got to work, bitch. Get your job. You know, save your fucking money.
If you do magic, you won't get a job. You're not going to get paid.
Exactly.
That's just not how it works.
The people really think that
it's so frustrating.
They really think that shit works.
I know.
Yeah, I mean that's the problem. I mean the thing is like, I mean, if you've seen some of like the you know, ritual requests out there. I'm not going to get into like any details or mention any names. That's confidential stuff. But if you see some of the stuff that people are asking for, it's like you actually think we can do that.
They actually think that we think we can do it for them. That's the worst
that's
part.
Even worse. That's even
because
worse.
Because so many people think that that's what it is. Like I can, like you do work with any ritual person or any person who, I don't want to say worth their salt, I don't know the right word for it, but anybody that's offering a service or something to do to help you work on something, and it doesn't include, well, what do you think you need to do?
Mm-hmm.
Then you're not getting anywhere, right? Because you have to set that somehow, and maybe that's a common basis we can all agree on. You can't do anything without the work. That's the base.
Exactly. You need the
That's
experience.
The base you have to live on.
You need the actual experience, and do it offline. Don't record. If you're going to record for reflection, not reaction.
Yep.
Like I
still want to do our project.
Like I don't think there's anything wrong with recording a ritual. I mean, I've recorded my own rituals, but I've never sent them to anybody. I watched them back to see, can I improve on this? Can I do better? What's
I've never watched them back. We've recorded a couple, but again, for specific people, that was for them. Like, I recorded a really short ritual I did for trying for one of the people on my team who was getting laid off, and they didn't deserve to be laid off. They were really good, and I wanted to make sure they had a soft landing. So I did some key magic to make sure they had keys to their next opportunity, and it worked. They got a copy of it. Nobody else will ever see that.
When I burnt the table, that work I did for a friend, I sent her pictures of the ingredients and things that I did to her.
I know you burnt my table
and I burnt your tablecloth
and the table.
But I sent it to her.
Leave it alone. This is not a rat dog. Okay, she is kind of a rat dog.
She's
kind of a rat dog.
A ball-headed rat dog.
But we should talk about that sometime. A process, like something to do to like accreditation, but not that.
Mm-hmm.
My brain's going 100 miles an hour.
There's so much more I wanted to get into on this. Like getting into like the algorithm as an egregore.
We have Discord time today.
Yeah, we can do that.
I know we've been planning to, and we just keep forgetting to announce it first.
Yeah, I mean, if you guys want to throw like a link in the chat so people can jump in the Discord, that's fine.
Yeah. I like the Discord because then it's easier to hear what people's thoughts are if you want to talk.
Yeah,
people
exactly.
Talk.
As soon as I find it.
So like if you guys like want to do like we can do like a little bit of a half an hour. We're jumping into the Discord for a post-show hangout. So we'll be in Discord maybe about like an additional half an hour, and then just to kind of continue the conversation.
Taco Bell dog, yes.
So yeah, I mean, there's just so much more on this. While Mystic is looking for the link and stuff to throw it in the chat. Oh, there it is, guys. I also wrote a part on like mirror magic and how that's gone wrong, turning a mirror outward instead of inward. Real magic or modern chaos magic gone unchecked, right? Manifestation for followers, reels that blow up, you know what I mean? Like, just stuff like this. Hex the moon incident. I don't know if anybody's.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So
I remember that one.
It's all of this plays in, So, but we will continue that conversation in the Discord. If you guys want to jump into the Discord and hang out, then come and hang out. If not, then thank you very much for being here. You guys are fucking amazing. And as always, hail thy fucking self. We'll see you in the next one. Peace the fuck out.